Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM23 Lions, episode 105. Perin Torino-Adriatico still ongoing. We're at Perin for now. Stage 7. While Stage 8 is punchy, the final stage, it's not punchy in a way that should see any sort of field splits. So today is the last big GC opportunity change. And like Stage 8, Stage 7 adopts the modern Tour de France philosophy of short and tough. Makes for exciting racing. So this is only about 115, 120k, give or take, on this stage. So it was intense from the first kilometer. As a result, the field has split up so much so that we're already down to just 70 in the peloton. And we, fortunately, have all but one of our riders here, Maccabee, our weakest guy, the only one who got dropped over that first set of triple climbs that saw the field get to where it's at now. Breakaway is now completely caught as well as we head to a sprint point. I'm not going to be bothering with trying to get seconds there. Those 3 seconds are irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. As intense as the stage is, we should see a fairly small group at the finish line. If anything, it could be solo, could be 1s and 2s, 3s and 4s, but 16k, 6% with the intensity for the day is going to be tough. Mutoni, Samuels, Hanoke all looking really good as a single rider. Well, we're getting a little bit of recovery on the descent here for the domestiques, for the workhorses. Lottering is getting back to full strength, so Bosco and de Villiers will get used up relatively early on the climb, protecting the 2 primary leaders, and then Lottering and Mutoni will take over. So actually we're going to want to get them on the heels of each of the 2 leaders, and then have each of the 2 leaders get set for climbing legs of up to an 85 to hold position. We don't want to drift back. We want to stay near the front. There could be attacks. Bosco and de Villiers will prepare to use their gels when need be. Now 19 kilometers to go. The water was taken care of at the appropriate time, so we're good to go on that one. And placement wise, it's Samuels in 11th in the GC right now. It's Hanoke in 7th. So they're both fairly well placed, have a great chance to move up today. We actually don't have as good of a race day condition, I believe, as we should, but you're never going to get a plus 19 on the expected, or rarely anyway. Bosco and Villiers gel. So plus 17 compared to a plus 19 expected under the circumstances is really good, but there's 0 plus 5, so it's definitely just that. It's that plus 17 and nothing more. We're already halfway up this climb, just about. It was what, 16.5k. We're down to 10 kilometers. De Villiers and Bosco dropping off at the same time, so it's time to make the switch to Lottering. Lottering's already on a little bit on the tire side. We will gel up with him here fairly quick. We're still at 71, so this group has not disassembled itself just yet. I mean, there's 6 riders out the back because we picked up the breakaway riders, and it's definitely starting to shrink now as Bosco and de Villiers both go out the back at the same time. Lottering gel finally kicks in. He's nearly done. 7k to go. Looking awfully weak, and there's an awful lot of riders left. Sprint point. Tony and Samuels will go through. It looks like 2nd and 3rd. So Samuels actually just gained a 2nd. Okay. Looks like it's on. We've got Gregoire, who sits 2nd overall, and Paulus, who sit 3rd overall. Let's see, where is our race leader? Bermudez is the race leader. Jumbo Visma, they will respond. Or will they? Yeah, those are not Jumbo Visma riders. But there's more attacking, which is the opposite of what I was hoping for under the circumstances. So, Mutoni, you're going to give me your last little bit of energy. Samuels is looking a little weaker than Hanoke, so Hanoke will be the leader. Once again, he's better placed anyway. Samuels gel. And Lottering gets dropped. Tony. Just about done. 82 is not a great pace, is it? We're just trying to give us that kilometer or so. Okay, he's on his own. We'll just set him into auto. Samuels will climb faster for a little more effort and just stronger climber. Let's try to hang on here. Not looking good for either of us. Hanouk's going to continue to follow as long as we're not drifting back. Samuel's decent enough climber that Hanouk can save a little something for the very end. But there's 4 riders up the road. Petrovic plus a few other guys. Bermudez leading the chase. So he's getting dropped here. We're inside the final kilometer, and Hanouk goes Ulrich. Hanouk making his way forward here. 300 meters. Gregoire took the stage ahead of Neutz and Paulus. So those early attackers, 2 of those 3 ended up on the podium. Champison, Petrovic, that was the 5 that got away. And then 6, Johannesson. And then Bermudez, unless Johannesson overtook Bermudez, might have there. But Hanouk gets a top 10. Even overtook Ulrich, who was attacking there. And Samuels was also up there in 19th. Big grouping that I believe both Hanouk and Samuels were a part of, but not necessarily. It's a mountain stage. They'll give separation for even a quarter of a bike length, so we'll see what they do for the standings, but we should still be well placed. Obviously, Hanouk should very much still be inside the top 10. So Bermudez took off and left the group behind there in that final 500 meters or so. Bardet was also in that zone in between, and Hanouk overtook a bunch of riders to then have a bunch of them get the same time as him. And Samuels did not get the same time, as he dropped a bit of time there. So this will open things up just a bit in the GC. Hanouk drops 1 spot to 8th as Neutz, who was on the podium today, and Johannesson both moving up, others moving down. Compared to a guy like Mataway, I mean, that was a good result for Hanouk. And Samuels drops 1 position, so they each go. We go from 7th and 11th to 8th and 12th. Not too bad considering Samuels should have had a better race day condition draw. He was one of the ones who had a -2 or a -3. The entire team had +3s or +4s, except for Maccabee, who's recovering from an injury and still building his fitness. He had a 0 and ended up with a +2. He was the only one with a positive race day condition draw, where everybody else was either neutral or slightly negative. And I think Samuels was the one who picked up kind of the bulk of that negative. So if he and Hanouk both had a good strong +3, +4, I think Samuels would be definitely further up the standings here. He was a little bit weak on the day. Matoni moves up from 30th to 23rd. That is into points territory. Overall for our team, and for bringing kind of a subpar, not subpar, just a middling team to this one. I'd say it's a pretty good performance. This is more of where I would expect us to be, as opposed to what's going on at Tirreno-Adriatico, where Sammy Arab is leading. Final stage for Tirreno-Adriatico. We have a 1-2 at the top of the standings going into this one, and big questions on whether we can hang on, because, well, it's not going to be easy. It's an individual time trial to wrap up this Tirreno-Adriatico, but at just over 10 kilometers in length, it's very short, meaning the gaps are a lot closer. You're talking about like within a minute or so as Benny Messias gets us started. He's got a +4, and just like Paris, we've got a lot of strong positive race day condition expectations. Ishimwe and Arab are 1-2 guys, or 2-1 guys respectively, in that are both expected to have +3s today. So if they both get in that neighborhood, if they both have somewhere around a +2 to a +4, or even a +5, right? If they both have at least a +2, I'm really liking the chances of at least Arab hanging on. Biniam Messias, 86 to the finish line here. And yeah, perfect. 7th, 27 seconds down for Biniam Messias. That today, 75 time trial, 79 prologue, meaning it's almost the 79. So that's a pretty good rating. Now, the time trial ratings of Ashimwe and Arab are about a 75 base. I'm not sure what their prologues are, but that's before you add in any bonuses. Biniam Messias had a pretty healthy bonus of a +4, but a +2 would probably get us into that same territory, and that could and should be enough to get the job done. Here's the important part to keep an eye on: the competitors. What sort of competition do we have? For one thing, Arab, ignore Ashimwe for a second because that's a teammate. We have a 38-second advantage over any other competitors. When we're talking about a minute or less field spread, that's already looking pretty good for us. But Arab, okay, it's a 75-74, so more towards the prologue end. Ashimwe is a 72-75, so he's already starting off fairly well. That's going to put them in a very similar kind of start position there. But Lenny Martinez, terrible time trialist. You could rule him out already. Rodriguez, 73-71, is even, well, weaker than our guys, so you don't have to worry about him either. We should be able to comfortably finish ahead of either of them as Hagens goes top of the standings. Urteas here will set off fairly soon, so we'll focus on that shortly. Martinez, he's pretty good with a 76. He could be a slight threat, but how much is he going to realistically gain if he's only about a point better than my guys are? Depending on his race day condition versus ours, if we have that at least a +2 kind of range for both of them, I think a 49-second advantage over Martinez should be easy to hang on to. Maybe he gains 10-15 seconds, but that would be roughly about it. But he seems to be the biggest challenger in the top 5. Goodwin is over a minute down and is pretty strong. So he, too, should be able to get that bonus 15 seconds or so that could even place him above Martinez. Evenepoel, not many better, but pure time trialing is where he's at his best. Prologue, not as much. That's going to give us a little bit of a chance. And then Pogacar is also in a similar boat, and Brambilla, but by this point, you're looking at guys that are far down the standings. Well, not far down the standings, but we're talking about like a minute plus down, where if you're only losing 30-40 seconds to them, you're still ahead. It's not going to be easy, and we need that at least a +2 race day condition. If we can get better than that, I really like our chances. If we don't get a +2, I'm going to be worried. If we get a +2, I won't be confident, but I'll say that that's probably good enough to have a real shot at it, as Roteas here is a pretty strong one. He's a 80 today. And push it on. You can see how we're taking over Ciccone. 8th at the first time check, just 11 seconds down. De Villiers, meanwhile, is very weak, so we won't even bother with him. We'll focus here on Roteas here. Back off just a little bit to get to the finish. Final kilometer, you can definitely go 87 a good long way. 8th place, just 22 seconds down, but again, we're talking about a spread for these guys of 20 to 40 seconds as good time trialists. De Villiers, let's go ahead and give him some love. We're already into the top 50 overall, by the way. 3rd in the points for him, 25th in the KOM, 15 in the youth, and yeah, that's 2 minutes down. That's what happens if you don't put in the effort, or if you are a time trialist like Mason Samuels. Well, that's harsh. Isaacs, a -5. His expected was a 0 today. He literally has the worst draw possible, but let's go with the karma approach, right? It should all come out neutral in the end. His -5 needs to turn into positives for others. Benny Messias had a +1 on top of his expectation. Roteasir was like -2 on his. De Villiers, what did he have? Was he a minus? We have some real karma at the moment. Like, if we're talking about keeping things balanced, these guys should both have better than a +3. Filippo Ganna is top of the charts, and we're already getting down to no threats yet. We're still talking about 7.5 minutes down overall, and there's not going to be that kind of gap. We've already seen really bad race day condition, really bad time trialists being just 2 minutes down. So at most, we're talking about a 2-minute field spread. Matthew Vanderpool comes through, 12th, 26 seconds down. Corbin Strong, we're into the top 20. Foss, 5.5 minutes down. Definitely still too far behind to be a factor. Vlasov inside 5 minutes group now. Ayuso, 3:24. Okay, now we're starting to talk. Okay, Gallo, first guy that's at right about 2 minutes and puts in a very good time of just 18 seconds down overall. But again, there's no reason for us to fear those guys in particular. Vingegaard, 30 seconds down on the overall. He's not going to gain much, but Stoker, +5 territory, clearly. We're talking a 73-74 time trial prologue for Kevin Stoker, and he just got 8 seconds down overall in 4th place. What? Minute and a half down overall. A bad time trial could put you all the way behind Kevin Stoker, who is 12th overall. Almeida heading for the line. Final kilometer. Shimway and Arab will set off fairly soon. We'll get Almeida's time, and then 41 seconds down for him. I don't think he's going to be a threat from that type of distance. It looks like he did not have a great race day condition bonus. But now we're going to focus on our guys. We'll have to check on kind of what's happening up here if we see names pop up. But a Shimway, that looks more like a +1 or maybe just a +2 for him. But that gives him a 78 prologue and a 74 time trial. So about a 77 on balance. Yeah, it's only a +1, so he's got a negative draw as well. A -2 draw for a Shimway. But Arab's got a good one. A Shimway could fall out of 2nd place. He really could, because he does not have the half-minute cushion that Arab has, and he definitely did not get the draw. Arab's got the draw. He has got to win this race. This is now a must-win territory, but we will try to manage both of these guys for a while here. Shimway settling in, so down to an 86 for a bit, and then Arab we will settle in and get down to 86 for a bit. Looking up the order, Martinez is 37 seconds down already. Rodriguez is 33. Martinez is 29. Goodwin is 13 seconds down. I haven't seen any other names. Foss was early, right? 33 down for Goodwin. 33 down. So I'm thinking we can easily put in that kind of time. At this point, it's more going to be about a Shimway, as Arab is looking like kind of a key guy. But let's hop back in here. Shimway just 17 seconds down at the first time check, and we'll be able to roll up to an 87 again here fairly soon. Arab looking even stronger, just 7 seconds down at the first time check. Okay, up to an 87 for him. We seem to be catching Martinez, which is no surprise. He's the next one to cross the line. Minute 24 down. Didn't realize we were that close to the line. Arab's 87 will get us right to the line. 12th place, 16 seconds down. That's a win. That's a win. He's 35 seconds ahead. Sammy Arab has won this race overall. Filippo Ganna wins the stage. Stoker dropped to 5th. Is FaZe the one who came up? Brambilla was 7th at 13 seconds. Arab wins. Ashimwe keeps 2nd at exactly a minute down on his teammate. Evenepoel jumps on the podium. Brambilla gets 4th. Goodwin 5th. Pogacar, Stoker all the way up to 7th from nowhere. Lawrence, Martinez, Rodriguez, Lenny Martinez who wins the KOM by a single point, dropped out of the top 10 entirely from third place. Arab wins the points classification with a tiebreaker over Martinez, wins the young rider classification. We get the 1-2 there, and we win the team classification. So we take all but a single classification, which we only missed by a single point. And we managed to not just win the overall, but we get a 1-2 with Ashimwe taking second. That is an absolutely brilliant start to the season. Isaacs was 30th overall, so he does not pick up points. I think he had to be somewhere around top 25, 27, maybe 30th, a point or two. But Arab and Ashimwe 1-2. That's huge. Plus the points, almost so very nearly the mountain classification. Young riders and that team on the stage. We were 5th best as a team on the stage, by the way. But overall for time, Arab was 14th at 17 seconds down. Same time as Ayuso and Evenepoel. That's a good, strong result. Roteasir, who's our top man by some margin, but didn't have the race day condition, ended up at 23 seconds. Benito Messias was 38. Ashimwe was 42 seconds down. I'm surprised at 42 seconds down that he was able to maintain second in the overall. That's quite a gap. That's quite a time loss that he took in that stage to, some of the highest guys in the GC. And he did not have the kind of cushion. I mean, he only had a 3-second cushion to Martinez, and then after that it was just 5 seconds to the next guy, 8 seconds, 10 seconds. It was all relatively close together. You got to 1 minute by about 6th or 7th in the standings, but he was at 35 down, so there it was all within about 25 seconds there. So for him to lose 42 seconds and somehow keep second, that was a surprise. It was pretty clear when we saw the race day condition that Arab was going to do enough to hang on and get the win. He had what he needed to do that, and even if whoever was second or third overall had won the stage at 17 seconds down, he wasn't in any danger because he had a 35-second cushion. So comfortable in the end. But Ashimwe, anything but, and amazingly, he still had a 15-second cushion. But look how close this is. Evenepoel at 1:15. We're talking 1:28 to Lawrence in 8th. 13 seconds separating them. There's less of a gap from Evenepoel to Lawrence than there is from Evenepoel to Ashimwe. And that's a full minute between those two. Surprising. I mean, we knew further down, Ayuso, everything below about 14th was multiple minutes behind. But I really thought that in that top 14, there would be a little more movement. All we ended up seeing was Martinez, Rodriguez, Martinez, and Almeida just drop down, and other guys move up. But they all just kind of swap places with each other, and we lucked out. With an 8th and 12th place to protect, we're going to go ahead and finish off Paris-Nice with a very simple 3-lap course here that's only 90 kilometers. And while it's very simple, it's only 90 kilometers. It's going to be very intense from the first kilometer to the last, and therefore it's going to be anything but easy. Let's go ahead and do the entire stage. All right, we've got a mix of draws. Maccabee gets -1. Lottering has a -5 draw because other than Maccabee, the next lowest is a +3. So Lottering gets a -5 draw today. That's ridiculous. Right now, the intensity is not there, but as soon as riders begin to attack, it will be. Samuels has a +5, though. He should be comfortable on this thing as it gets chaotic. Should be able to hang on. Tony also has a +5, but he's 23rd overall. Hanoch gets a +4. I think we should be able to hang on to this thing. So with our key guys in place, I'm really amazed that we do not have anything chaotic happening yet. I really expected it from the first few kilometers. 3 riders are just going away comfortably. For now, they're going to let them get away a little bit. All right, here's where the pace is starting to pick up and more riders are trying to go on the attack, and now it's becoming important to hold position. 6 to 7% gradient is all we have through here. It's 4.5 kilometers. Average is 5%. It's actually a much easier climb than I thought it was from when I first saw it on paper. Looking a little weak today with that -5 draw of his. And De Villiers is finally in position to protect Matoni. And we'll wait for Lottering to get up here as well. It's like you want to get in position early on these short stages, because when you're at the back, the pace is always going to be a problem, and getting forward is always going to be a problem. But overdoing it and riding too hard will get you dropped early and overly fatigued, because there's never going to be much of a recovery. There is a little bit of a descent here coming up in a little bit, though. In all, we have 5 riders off the front, and yeah, we're already starting to see gaps. Maccabee is already very tired. Bosco is very tired, but this gradual descent, we're getting about a 5% descent. That's just enough that, you know, most of the guys are just kind of rolling through. It is allowing for a fair bit of recovery. 60k to go. Lottering's the odd man out, who's going to go ahead and get water. And we got separation there for a perfect moment that Lottering did not have to drop back far at all. Is already riding forward again. And we have water good to go till the end of the race. Perfect timing there. That was 1 part skill, 10 parts luck. Let's get a look at the 5 riders that are off the front. Peterson, it's not Casper, and it's not Mads. And now we're down to Johannes Delic. Johannes Delic at the front of the field riding solo. Let's go say hi. There's Guillaume. There's Johannes Delic. Still same ratings as when we saw him last. Sits 73rd overall, 37 minutes down, and he is solo at 1 minute. Maccabee has already been dropped. So auto for him. And that means Lottering now needs to protect Samuels. Let's hope we can get our guys into that last phase. 38k. Man, this thing goes fast. We're already well past halfway. We're already into the later section of the second circuit. And this is also the finish line right there. One more time through. That would have been a bell lap. Ding, 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 ding. Be nice if the game actually offered that. It really shouldn't be that hard to indicate when and how to have a bell. It would be just a simple, just the way you set up KOMs, right? Or sprint points. You set up a bell. You know, when you're creating stages. Doesn't feel like it would be that hard to do. Okay, intensity means 85 is not going to cut it. Let's go 90. 25k though, so we are just holding positions for now. There is Johannes Delic riding as hard as he can, and he is about to crack and go straight out the back of the peloton because he's been riding really hard for 70 kilometers. Hello, we're sitting up. Really? Recovery. Not a fan of recovery. That's not much of an acceleration. But that's a couple teams getting themselves in place now. 17k. And I think while the pace is not so bad, let's get rolling. Not push yet, but get rolling. So Bosco's up first. We'll start at like an 88 or 89. De Villiers, then Lottering. De Villiers. Yeah, no. It's just the stamina piece for Lottering that's weak, but ultimately De Villiers, he's got a great flat rating though. That +5 is really going to help him. Okay, so Matoni is 23rd overall. Samuels is 12th overall. Henoch is 4th overall, but not a puncher. So at the end, if it comes down to it, Samuels is, in fact, Samuels is. But then so is Matoni. Okay, here's the plan. Change of plans. Henoch is going to get a free ride. He's we're just going to have him on the tail. He's not going to be a part of anything. He's just getting the most protection. But we ride on the stage for Samuels. with a lead out from Matoni, which means we have 3 guys to cover the next, like 15 kilometers. So we don't want to go too hard too early. 86 is more than enough to get us out front right now, so we'll let it be more than enough. Now let's keep an eye on what's going on behind us. If others want to try to come and overtake us, then that would be the time to start speeding up. But in the short term, we're inside 15K, and Bosco's not having to push too hard. Let's get Gel for De Villiers ready and check back in here at the rear, make sure we're not getting overtaken. We're going to be at the base of the climb fairly soon, and now just 13K, so we're going to start speeding up. Bosco's not terribly fast to begin with, so 3.5K to the top of this climb, and here we go. Here's the acceleration coming on. First 2 guys are not going to do much, but there we go. We just countered that quite easily. Back off a little bit. Bosco giving us his last hurrah. And De Villiers takes over. Pushing only Champisson, making an attack, but that's going to be easy to counter. Lottering is feeling it, which is just so weird because De Villiers is just not that guy. Lottering not losing his wheel, though. We get the KOM points, but that competition is long dusted. Bosco gets dropped. 85 left in the peloton, and De Villiers making his final push. Oh! Gel. Click the button, like right here. 0. 4.5K and 3 riders go off undeservedly. 4.5K. Now I'm the one hitting the wrong button here. De Villiers, follow. Bosco, auto. Lottering, auto. $2.8K. Catching back up to Sheffield, 2.1K sprinting. Catching back up to him, 1.4K. Samuels getting a little bit of an early start on this thing. And Hanoch, Matoni, Samuels for a second looked like he might get a top 3, but Hanoch coming on here at the final stretch. Gregoire gets a win. Neutz, those guys got the advantage. We caught back up to them, but they still had enough left to finish the stage off. Pidcock gets 3rd. Germay gets 4th. Hanoch got 6th, though. Samuels got 8th, so we're not going to lose time. De Villiers gets 11th. And Matoni gets 13th. Overall, it's a very good stage result for us. 33 guys here. I doubt anybody lost time, but you never know. We'll see. But what could have been, I think that could have been a potential stage victory the way we were setting that up, and then 99 effort becomes 0, and at that point the whole group's momentum was stopped. Like the whole group, there was no first time separation is at 27th place, 27 seconds behind, so the top 26 all on same time, other than the top 3 guys getting their bonus seconds. And so Hanoch stays 8th. Samuels does move up a spot back to 11th. He's a minute behind the next guy ahead of him and a minute and a half ahead of the first guy behind him. So he's very much in no man's land. Matoni moves up a few spots to 20th. So we do gain a little bit in terms of points on that stage. But I feel like there could have been more to that stage. I feel like we had a real shot at that thing. Bermudez held the win overall, even though he lost time on that previous stage. I'm surprised about that. But Gregoire, with a 10-second time bonus, goes from 13 down to 3 down. Dang, close. Paulus was in no man's land himself, and so his little gain didn't make any difference. And Neutz doesn't gain anything. He was already ahead of Hanoch. And Pidcock was 3rd. He almost overtook Hanoch, so kind of looked out there that didn't happen. Gregoire wins the points. Bowden wins the mountain stage, or mountain classification. Bermudez wins the under 25s. We were 4th, 5th, and 9th. As a team, we were 5th. Like it was said over that previous stage, this feels more like where our team belongs on a regular basis. Cracking the top 10, getting some results at World Tour level, competing for stages, but coming up a little short. Chaos happening for no reason at all. You could say maybe we dropped the chain for a second, but it popped back in. And so momentum just stopped, and the guys all kind of like fumbled over each other to not crash, and then lost momentum, right? That sort of thing happens in real life, I suppose. So there you go. Misclick is the reality of it. It's my bad, even though I was very much in the box for the gel. I was up near the corner of that box. So it is what it is. I suppose I'll take the fall for that one. My bad. Ultimately, though, deserved result plus a fantastic result for Arab means a really successful dual race, first key races of the year for us, and we've done well. Last year we didn't have the bonuses for any of it. We didn't have the fitness peaks, we didn't have the objectives. We struggled to get the top 10s. We got some, but we struggled as a whole. Here, see what happens when you target a race, when you bring the right riders to a race, you could do well. Just like we did at the Tour de France a year ago. Definitely can't do it for all the races. You have to key in on a handful, but with a subpar team, you could still get superior results. Now, as Shinwei starts his fitness peak, day after the race is done. Payout for Tirreno-Adriatico is $43K, though. That's pretty nice for a 1-2 finish. The new rankings are in. Following the Tirreno-Adriatico race, Sammy Arab has added 663 points, jumping to 31st in the overall rankings. Shinwei also jumping 10 spots to 34th, just behind him, with 463 points to go along with his giant haul that he got at the Tour de France for winning the KOM a year ago. They still haven't caught Samuels, though. Samuels picked up 78 points for his Paris-Nice efforts, and that actually sees him drop a spot. But good effort so far. 3 key guys, and especially with Rwanda and Morocco this high in the rankings, there's a decent chance that we could be talking about a training point at the end of the year, though I think we did get one for Rwanda thanks to a Shinwei this last year, right? But he's got a lot more points than he had a year ago at this point, so he's already looking pretty good, pretty strong for that. And as a team, we are number 1. As a team, we are over 1,000 points ahead of the former Ineos team, now National Bing. That's not going to hold throughout the season. The Grand Tours, we're not going to be competing for podiums. You know, we've seen what we look like at our best. Samuels a year ago, I think that's what we looked like at our best for a Grand Tour. So there's going to be huge points hauls that we're not going to match up to. So we're not going to win or anything like that. But heck of a start to the season. While we put up a nice effort a year ago, we're looking quite a bit stronger this year. Quite a bit stronger. And we should be able to hold this for at least the rest of March and maybe into April as we get into the classic season. Some of the classics, well, we're getting into it now, right? Some of the classics are going to be favorable for us and we can get some more performances. Some of them are just, we're not built for. So this is where that trade-off is going to start to happen, and we're going to start the decline. But at this point, just looking at the standings, Jumbo-Visma around 5th and Intermarché, like that feels like the territory we might finish the season at, somewhere top 5. What did we end up last year? 8th, 9th, 10th, something like that at the end of the season. That's going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.